You who are watching this video could be one of the first people to step on the red soil of Mars. This is not science fiction, it is NASA's timeline for the next decade. And while you imagine what it would be like to look through a spaceship window and see our blue planet disappearing into space, scientists are already planning permanent colonies on Mars for 2050. But wait a moment. Before you pack your bags to become a Martian, you need to know what really awaits you there. Because Mars is not just a red desert waiting for colonists. It is a dead, hostile world that will test every limit of human technology and your survival capacity. Sandstorms that engulf the entire planet for months. Radiation that can cause cancer before you even get there. Temperatures that vary from 95 degrees Fahrenheit in the equatorial summer to minus 49 degrees Fahrenheit at the poles. And that is just the beginning. But here is what is fascinating. Despite all these seemingly impossible challenges, humanity is closer than ever to making Mars habitable. NASA and other space agencies have already developed revolutionary technologies that can transform this hostile world into our second home. So what exactly would you face as one of the first Martians in history? What would it be like to wake up every day on a planet where a simple mistake can mean death? And more importantly, how do scientists plan to overcome each of these deadly obstacles? Let us start with the journey. 3 months in space may seem like a long cruise trip, but you will be completely exposed to cosmic radiation and solar wind. This prolonged exposure can cause cancer and even Alzheimer's symptoms before you even step on Mars. To protect future Martians, engineers are developing ships with walls filled with water rich in hydrogen, which works as a natural shield against radiation. Some even propose creating artificial magnetic fields around the spacecraft, but this still requires technology that we do not completely master. When you finally arrive on Mars, you will discover that, despite being an alien planet, it shares surprising similarities with Earth. A Martian day lasts only 39 minutes longer than an Earth day. Mars has seasons, polar ice caps, and even recognizable weather patterns. But do not be fooled by these similarities. Mars is a world of extremes. In a single day, you can experience a temperature variation of almost 108 degrees Fahrenheit. At the equator, your feet may feel 73 degrees Fahrenheit, while your head experiences freezing temperatures. And then come the dust storms. Imagine looking at the horizon and seeing a gigantic wall of dust and sand approaching. You might think it's just a regional storm, but you're about to witness something that does not exist anywhere else in the solar system. A storm that literally swallows the entire planet. These superstorms happen every 3 Martian years and can last months. In 2018, one of these storms killed NASA's Opportunity rover, completely blocking sunlight and leaving the robot without power. The darkness was so intense that even with nuclear equipment like the Curiosity rover, communication with Earth becomes impossible. For a human colonist dependent on solar energy, these storms represent an existential threat. You would need alternative energy sources and enough provisions to survive weeks or even months of complete isolation, with no possibility of receiving help from Earth. But let us talk about something more basic: food. Remember the movie The Martian? Growing potatoes in Martian soil is not just possible, it is an essential part of colonization plans. Mars soil contains many essential nutrients for plant growth. In 2016, scientists managed to grow tomatoes, rye, radishes, peas, leeks, spinach, and other plants in simulated Martian soil, producing only slightly less than in Earth soil. But there is a problem. Martian soil contains calcium perchlorates, toxic substances that can be absorbed by plants and then by you. The solution? Wash the soil with water to remove the perchlorates, or use special bacteria that feed on these substances and produce oxygen as a byproduct. Ironically, these same toxic perchlorates can save your life by extracting water from the Martian air. But perhaps the greatest challenge is psychological. Imagine living confined in a small space with the same people eating basically the same things every day, knowing that there is no way to return home quickly. Communication with Earth has a delay of 3 to 22 minutes in just one direction, making normal conversations impossible. You would be completely on your own. In emergencies, there is no rescue team arriving in a few hours. You and your fellow colonists would need to solve all problems alone, from equipment failures to medical emergencies. And then there are the effects of low Martian gravity on the human body. Studies with astronauts show loss of muscle and bone mass, vision problems, imbalance, cardiovascular problems, and weakened immune system. The first Martians would need to exercise constantly just to maintain basic health. But despite all these seemingly impossible challenges, technology is evolving rapidly. NASA is developing Martian helicopters like Ingenuity, which has already completed more than 70 successful flights. Quadruped robots like Boston Dynamics Spot are being tested for autonomous exploration of Martian caves. These caves, by the way, may be the key to colonization. They offer natural protection against radiation and dust storms, plus possible access to underground water deposits. Imagine living in an underground Martian city, protected from the hostile elements of the surface. Future habitats will be built by autonomous robots using 3D printing with materials from Martian soil itself. These structures will be covered with layers of regolith for additional protection against radiation. Air and water recycling systems, already tested on the International Space Station, will keep colonists alive. Energy will come from a combination of solar panels and compact nuclear reactors, still in development. Breathable air will be produced through water electrolysis and processing of Martian atmospheric carbon dioxide. But here's the question that really matters. After knowing all these risks and challenges, would you still have the courage to be one of the first Martians? Because despite all the dangers, there have never been a lack of volunteers. Every time space agencies open applications for long-duration missions, they receive thousands of candidates willing to risk everything for a chance to make history. Perhaps that is what most defines humanity, our willingness to face the impossible, to transform hostile worlds into homes, to bring life where it never existed before. In just half a century, we went from never having left our planet to planning permanent colonies on other worlds. The first generation of Martians will not just be explorers or scientists, they will be the founders of a new civilization, the ancestors of people who will never know Earth, who will look at our blue planet in the Martian sky as a distant star where their ancestors lived long ago. And you, who are watching this video today, could be one of these people. In the next 15 years, while you are still alive and capable, the first permanent settlements may be being established. The question is not whether this will happen, but whether you will have the courage to be part of the greatest adventure in human history. Because in the end, Mars is not just about survival in a hostile world. It is about proving that humanity can overcome any obstacle, adapt to any environment, and carry the flame of civilization to any corner of the universe we decide to call home. If this video sparked your curiosity about Mars colonization and the challenges the first Martians will face, leave your like to support this content. Subscribe to the channel and activate notifications so you do not miss the next videos about space exploration and the future of humanity among the stars. And since we are talking about new worlds and exploration, how about discovering even more mysteries of our universe? Click on one of the suggested videos that is appearing on the screen now and embark on another incredible adventure of knowledge about the cosmos. Until the next adventure, and who knows, maybe we will meet one day on the red sands of Mars.